So when AliExpress approached me to do another mini PC review in time for their mid-year sale, I said sure, why not? I've been buying random stuff from there for the better part of a decade, including all my channel t-shirts and hats. The AOOSTAR WRT Pro is a NAS manufactured by Tianbei, who are probably best known for their Gem series mini PCs. While its main use is as a NAS, there's also a claim you can use it as a desktop workstation, and we're going to look at that claim. The WTR Pro is made of a nice aluminium wraparound case with plastic on the front and back. It's been designed so you need to slide the logo to the side to get to the power button, which prevents an accidental press. The front panel is a magnetic cover which hides the four 3.5-inch SATA hard drive bays. Be aware, the drives are not hot swappable and you have to power the unit down if you want to add or remove a drive. The back has a 120mm fan to keep them cool. CPU options for the WTR Pro include an Intel N100, N150, or a much more powerful Ryzen 5825U, and that's the one we're looking at with 8 cores, 16 threads, and Radeon Vega graphics. Apart from the NAS Mini PC, you get a manual, an M.2 A/E key to NVMe adapter, screws, stickers for the drives, a 19V 120W power supply, and HDMI cable. On AliExpress, it's around $388 before coupons and cashback for the bare bones, and you can add RAM and storage for extra. Oh, and AliExpress wants me to mention their new cashback feature, sort of like a loyalty program. By joining my team, you can get 5 to 15% cashback on everything you buy, and of course, you can still use coupons to sweeten the deal. You can also win up to 1,500 Aussie dollary dues of cashback. All the info is in the video description. Ports are on one side and include dual Intel 2.5GB LAN, a 10GB full-featured USB-C port supporting power and display. Yep, I was able to power it with my USB-C monitor, microSD card slot, DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.1, dual USB 3 5GB, dual USB 2, and a 3.5mm audio jack. So the ports you need for a workstation are indeed here. On the underbelly of the WTR Pro, you'll find the plate to unscrew for access to the memory and storage. It uses DDR4 SODIMM RAM, and two 3200 sticks are included with this model. There are also two M.2 Gen 3 X4 slots available, with one occupied by the 1TB drive bundled here, which also includes Windows 11 Pro. No M.2 Wi-Fi card is included, and if you do decide to add one, it'll be up to you to add the pigtail cables and attach them somewhere to get reception. Or if you don't need Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, you can use the included M.2 adapter to add a third NVMe drive, which will run at Gen 3 X1 speed or max out at around 900 MB a second sequential read and write. Like many of these NAS units from mini PC brands, this one doesn't actually come with NAS software out of the box, so it's not plug and play unless you want to use Windows 11 Pro, which is included if you get the model with storage. A malware and rootkit scan of the Windows 11 Pro OS shows it to be clean. I also tried Ubuntu on the WTR Pro, and it worked just fine. Okay, so let's hit the performance benchmarks. The Cinebench single core score shows it performs just like a 5825U should. Moving on to multi-core, performance was lower than the other 5825U I tested. So after checking the BIOS, I can confirm the power mode is set to 15W TDP by default. I switched it to 25W, which I show you how to do in the BIOS section of the video, and it performs even better than the Herc Pulsar result. Geekbench single core checks out as well. In multi-core, we see the same thing as with Cinebench. At default settings, it's slower than the Herc Pulsar and faster with the power limit increased. This continues with H.264 full video encoding, which is a more important metric for those thinking about using this as a video workstation. Again, you're going to want to use it with the 25W TDP. The AV1 codec benchmark sees the same trend. AMD's Ryzen 5825U is no speed demon, but has decent CPU performance for its low power draw. The AI CPU results show that the 5825U holds up well against even previous Intel flagships. The same can be said for AI GPU tests. Integrated graphics performance also relies on a higher TDP to be maxed out, and the WTR Pro does very well in the 3D Mark tests. As elsewhere, at default it's behind the Herc Pulsar, but with the 25 watt TDP, it comes out ahead. Overall, the AOOSTAR WRT Pro performs very well and looks to be maxing out the Ryzen 5825U's performance. Thanks to the awesome Jared from Jared's Tech, I was finally able to get a Puget benchmark license, so I can now benchmark Photoshop and Premiere. Here's a Photoshop result showing good performance, and here's Adobe Premiere. I look forward to seeing how other Intel and AMD minis hold up against each other in the future as they're added into the chart. I have tested the 5825U in Adobe Premiere previously. It is capable of 4K video editing using H.264 files. The idea of a mini PC with so many storage drives for a video editing workstation is a good one, but a more powerful CPU would have been nice. The bundled Ascent NVMe drive is the second best Gen 3 SSD to show up in this list of mini PCs, and even without a heatsink, it managed to stay cool with a 30-minute thrash test. There is space to add a heatsink to all the drives or thermal pads. Idle power draw is on the high side with the WTR Pro at 12 watts. Maximum power draw with just the one NVMe drive was around 50 watts from the wall out of the box, and close to 10 watts extra with a higher power limit as expected. Additional NVMe drives and of course 3.5-inch hard drives will increase this figure. Maximum CPU temp is really good either way. One of the best results in fact. That's not too surprising with such a large unit where you've got plenty of space for a decent cooling solution. However, that being said, fan noise is not great, especially idle fan noise. And for a bit of amusement, I present you the volume chart, which shows the WTR Pro is by far the biggest mini PC tested on this channel. To get into the BIOS, you'll need to mash the delete key on startup. Advanced power configuration has a few options you might be interested in, such as AC power loss. In hardware monitor, you can try messing around with the fan curves. Next, in AMD CBS MBIO common options, the maximum VRAM for the integrated graphics can be set. While in SMU common options, Smart Shift Control is where the CPU power limit can be tweaked. It's 15,000 or 15 watts by default. Change that to 25,000, then save and exit with F4 to apply it. That's it. Okay, so we had some fun there, while I got stressed out trying to meet this deadline. It's all good. All my body parts are still functioning. I hope. Pros and cons time. AOOSTAR's WTR Pro performs very well on the CPU and iGPU side. I love the rugged metal case and overall design. Cooling is good, and there's plenty of storage support. Port selection is pretty decent. I wasn't expecting a full-featured USB-C. So, nice job there. However, fan noise is higher than I'd like, especially idle fan noise. Dual 2.5 gigabit LAN is pretty limiting for a NAS. At least 5 gigabit would have allowed the power users more room to work with, but as is, it will do the job for many wanting a simpler home setup. It's not possible to hot swap the 3.5-inch storage drives, and the lack of implementation of any wireless antennas will be annoying to those throwing in a wireless card. Overall, a pretty nice product, definitely more suited to being a NAS than a workstation, unless you need something you can lug under your arm with a lot of storage drives. Maybe an emulation box with all the ROM sets? Anyway, check out the AliExpress sale in the video description, and maybe you'll find a cracker of a deal. If you're looking for some ideas, I've got plenty of top 5 mini PC lists you can check out. Just like my latest one right here. Cheers!